back, guys. Welcome back, guys. So, today we will look at a very important aspect of our code, of our website, of everything we do. That's the nav bar. You know, we've not talked about the nav bar so far. So let me bring it to the head here before the container. So we have a provision for nav bar 2 in Bootstrap. I know it's getting a bit tougher, but I can assure you, practice makes perfect. I was never a perfect person in a day. I practiced and I became better than I used to be. So guys, so let's go through this. Let's see how the nav bar work. So the first thing, you know, remember we have a nav. Remember we have a nav what's it called, tag in our HTML5 back then. So the class for nav bar in what's it called in Bootstrap is nav bar. So you see nav bar. So now you cannot choose different kind of nav bar. You can say, okay, nav bar, do you want to expand? Nav bar expand. So I will explain some other class of nav bar. So we can say, okay, nav bar expand. You can be, your nav bar expand can be SM, can be LG, can be anyone. Then you cannot choose the background for your nav bar. It can be BG light, it can be BG dark. You remember our background, how you can decide to write your own CSS to take care of the background. Now we can now put a div inside, and the div, let's put a container. We can set a class container fluid. You know why we're using the container fluid is because normally we always want our nav bar to take care of almost all the pages, just to leave a little what's it called, a little padding and margin left and right. So now we can now make use of our UL. Now for our UL, the class that we use for our UL in Bootstrap, you say nav bar nav. So this will make our system to understand, okay, this is a nav bar. You say nav bar, then you put dash nav. That's for our UL. Then we'll come to our list. So in our list, we use the class. We normally use the class nav item. So nav item means this is one of the items in the nav bar. Then, you know, remember in our L1 we used to have, that's what we used to have our anchor href. So let's say this was our home. So inside our anchor itself, it also has its own class. The class for this is nav link. So once we're able to do this, we are good to go. Then we're going to have our nav bar. Let me just copy and paste this and see. So let me call this home. Let me call this about. Let me call this gallery. Let me call this contacts. So if I come here and refresh, boom. Now, if you have been with us from the beginning, you remember when we were trying to create our nav bar. It took us like a whole day to get our nav bar done with our pure CSS. But look at Bootstrap. In less than 10 seconds. Okay, let me, I don't want to exaggerate. Let me say in less than 1 minute, we are done with our nav bar. Can you see that? So that's why Bootstrap, it's very good for us. And I will really advise that we get conversant and we get other people will get conversant with it. We get to know more about it so that it can help. So that with this, we can be able to do a lot of things and be able to scale through so many things, build our website within few minutes and so on and so forth. And Bootstrap has some other things like the drop down aspect and the likes of that. Okay, let's look at the drop down. Let's try and drop down one of our what's it called, one of this. So for us to have a drop down here, we just need to do see L1. So sorry, that was a mistake. Then inside the L1, we're going to have a different class. We're going to have a class, we call it nav item, then drop down. Then inside the drop down, we're going to have an E. This one will carry a class called nav link. Remember that's the normal class, nav link. Then we had an extra class called drop down toggle. Then here we'll say okay, href, since it's not going to link anywhere, we'll put an hash. Then we can say okay, the role should be a button. Like I said, you don't have to cram all this. I will show you where you can get all this anytime you are in need of this. Don't worry, just follow along and I can assure you get this. So that this one should be a drop down. Should be a drop down. Then here we can say okay, let's say options. That's what we want the person to see. Then inside inside our list, we'll now come and create another list and another list. Then this list will carry a class of drop down menu. We'll say drop down dash menu. Now here we now have our another list inside this. This list will serve as our drop down inside this place. So we have our list. So our list will have its own class. So the class will be drop down item. That should be one of the drop down items. We can say option 1. Now if I come back here, this. So this one will be option 2, option 3, option 4. So if I save this and go back to my page and I refresh, now yes, these are drop down. Now it's not dropping down. Why? Because there is a JavaScript aspect that we're supposed to make use of, that we're here to make use of, and we're going to make use of that soon. We've not started JavaScript, but what I'm going to do, I'll just attach it just for us to be able to do some other things, but we'll not be looking at the content of that JavaScript, what's inside. When we get to JavaScript, we'll talk more about it. Okay, so where do we get the JavaScript from? Remember, we downloaded Bootstrap yesterday. We downloaded our Bootstrap. I'm trying to look for it the other day. Okay, I think that's it. So if you remember, if you open it, we have a JS aspect, so we can just copy this bootstrap.min.js. For now, let me just put it inside our CSS folder. Oh no. The best way is, let me create another folder here. I'll call this JS. Then let me drag this into our JS folder. Now when I drag into our JS, don't worry, just ignore this. We'll get there. Then we'll normally have our Bootstrap. It's very good when you have your Bootstrap at the bottom of the page. We'll say scripts. That's how to add your JavaScript rather. It's src. So src, you give the description of, instead of href that we use for our CSS, we use src for this. Then slash, let's say bootstrap.min.js. So if I should come in here and refresh now, our drop down, why is it not working? Let's see why our drop down is. Our drop down should be working. Let's see why it's not working. Check. Probably we've made something. Let's check why our drop down is not working. Let's go through and see. Where is our href? So we have an L1 that has a nav item drop down. So we have our nav link with our drop down toggle. Oh, okay, I think we made a mistake somewhere here. Yes, so let's check. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's dropping now. So you can see it's because we forgot to write E somewhere. That's why it's not working. So this could be links to, there could be links to that, links to other pages. So you can see how easy it is for us to get our what's it called? To get our this thing done, our navbar done. We don't have to write 30 lines of code like we did the other time. In few seconds, we're able to finish up and we are good to go with our drop down. Okay, with our drop down and with our nav bar. So sorry, I don't know why I'm getting where I'm getting everything together. Okay, so there's one aspect of our nav bar I would like to show us. Let me do something. Let me duplicate this our table. This is our okay, let me just duplicate this div. This is our div. div container. I'll duplicate it. So if you notice, if I duplicate this, we're going to have more content on the page, and when I scroll, our navbar disappear. So we could make our navbar to be fixed, so that even when we scroll, everything, our navbar remain. All we just need to do just to come here and say fixed minus top. That means fix this to the top. So when I refresh, if I scroll, you can see our navbar remain while we scroll up and down. Okay guys, thank you very much. So in our next class, we'll be moving into something much more important, and we'll call the card and some other things. So guys, see you in the next class. Thank you very much.